Residents still living in Lahaina are concerned about what's in the air they're breathing. The EPA took air samples a few weeks ago, but the state hasn't released those results. And now some residents say they have headaches, rash, and other symptoms. Maui County says the Department of Health is responsible for releasing air quality results. We reached out to DOH. It has yet to respond to our request for those results. Until then, residents are left wondering whether or not they'll have long-term health effects.
You know, I've been so focused on all of the missing kids and these roadblocks and stuff that I haven't really had the chance to talk about the air quality and the water supply down in Maui. And to be honest with you all, I have mixed feelings about it. But anyways, the good old folks over at the EPA, they're down in Lahaina. They're testing the air, they're testing the soil, and all of that good stuff. And they're telling some of these people that, hey, even after, most of the cleanup efforts are over, even after, they're done searching for remains, even after most of these people go back to their regularly scheduled lives, a lot of you all still won't be able to return home. Or a lot of you all still won't be able to return to your property, the site where your home once stood, due to the chemicals and the toxins in the area. Some of these areas are contaminated, and we don't know when you can return. It may be months and months and months and months down the line before you can even get a glimpse of the place where your home once stood, before you can even get a glimpse of the ashes, if they're even still there by the time these people are allowed to return. Now, on one hand, when you have a fire, like what happened down in Maui, this is a big fire. You're wiping out homes and businesses. Of course, I would assume that some chemicals got burnt along the way. I'm not here to tell you that this area is totally safe. There could be chemical ashes or whatever you want to call them. It can't be good to breathe some of that stuff in. And of course, like I said, in a fire this large, that's not burning through the woods, it's burning through businesses and homes. There's bound to be chemicals and certain stuff that got burnt up along the way. So on one hand, I understand that it may not be safe, right? But on the other hand, I can't help but feel like this may be being used as just another excuse, as just another tactic to grab the land from right up under these people's noses, from right under their feet. This whole situation looks shady. This whole entire fire, the response to the fire, it looks shady. Everyone thinks that. It's not like I'm the only one calling it out. Everyone's basically on the same page. It doesn't matter what your religion is, what your race is. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. It doesn't matter if you live overseas and you don't even get into politics. Everyone's kind of on the same page here that there's some shady stuff going on. So I can't help but wonder if this is just being used as another excuse to discourage these people from ever trying to return home. When you lose everything, you're already getting phone calls, people trying to buy your property. They're giving you outrageous numbers. They're trying to get it from you, right? And then you have the EPA telling you, oh, well, even after the cleanup efforts, even after all of this is over, long after we're gone, you still may not be able to return to this area because it may be contaminated. It may not be safe. So that's going to cause even more people to be more likely to sell off their property. Some people may be scared to return home because they're going to feel like it's unsafe. And it very well could be unsafe. But at the same time, when you're looking at a situation like this one and you see all of the shady stuff going on, you have to question things. And folks, none of us want to be here right now questioning this stuff. We all wish that everything was hunky-dory, that life was a picnic, and that we can walk around and not have to worry about stuff like this. But in reality, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, and you just can't ignore it forever. So I hate that we have to question these things, but that's where we're at right now. We have to question everything. And by simply asking a few questions about this fire, we found out so much that does not add up, so much that does not look right. So when we have the EPA coming in, and we already know that they're trying to buy this land from these people, you know, these people out of their own mouths, it's not like a personal opinion of mine. These people feel like this is a land grab. They've been trying to get this land from these people for a long time. They've been denying it. They've been turning down the offers for years. They wanted to turn it to a smart city. They said no. Then it burnt to the ground. So they feel like this is a land grab. So when you have the EPA in town telling people, oh, you're not going to be able to turn here, it's contaminated, it really makes you question things. You know what I mean? But I'm going to roll this clip, and then I have a lot more to say. So stay tuned.
Concern over air quality in Lahaina as residents who survived the fire trickle back into their homes.
KITV4's Kristen Concilio reports why some people are worried about long-term health consequences as they wait for answers as to what's in the air.
Blake Ramelb recently helped his grandparents settle back into their Lahaina home, but he's worried that it may not be safe.
I'm up at my grandparents' hub almost every day now, and you feel it. I automatically feel like a tightness in my chest.
Hundreds of people are still living in Lahaina after wildfires burned down thousands of structures and killed at least more than 100 people. And more residents are slowly trickling back in.
Is the air safe? If we're going to have like some long-term cancerous effects in 5, 10, 15 years.
The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency sampled the air a few weeks ago for toxins including lead, arsenic, and asbestos, but the data has not yet been released to the public.
For something like this, something essential like breathing, I feel like this is something we should have access to ASAP.
That's different from the EPA's ongoing monitoring for particles in the air, an indication of air pollution or quality. Maui County told KITV4 the Department of Health is responsible for sharing the information, but the DOH says Maui County will be the ones to share those results. In the meantime, Ramelb and others in the community are distributing donated air purifiers and pleading for answers on social media.
It scares me, it worries me, but I want to think that the air is safe to breathe.
Kristen Concilio, KITV4, Island News.
So the main reason why I'm having trouble believing all of this ties directly into East Palestine, Ohio, and what happened with the train derailment out in that area. For those of you all who have been subbed to my channel, you probably saw my coverage of that story, but long story short, a train derails in the middle of East Palestine, Ohio. It's carrying toxic chemicals. The chemicals spill out, and they decided, hey, instead of cleaning up the chemicals, we're going to do a controlled burn, and we're going to basically blow this rail car up, set these chemicals on fire, and allow the toxic fumes to consume our entire community. That's what they did. Now, the EPA showed up in that situation as well. Mind you, these are two totally different situations. But you basically had this almost like a chemical bomb going off in this town. All right, contaminating all of the water, the air supply, the air quality. I mean, it was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting, dangerous, all around crazy situation, right? The EPA was in the area like the next day, trying to convince people that it was safe to return home, because they knew they messed up by doing the controlled burn, by this train derailing in the first place. Trains are derailing all over America for some reason. But anyways, they literally tried to convince these people that it was safe to return home the next day. And it definitely wasn't. People are returning home. Their pets are dead outside. You can throw a rock in the creek and you can see the chemicals literally come up. But they're telling these people the water's safe, the air's safe, your homes are safe. And it was obvious that that wasn't true. But that's what they were trying to convince these people of. The day after, they just contaminated this whole entire community and surrounding areas with all of these toxic chemicals. Honestly, the area won't be the same. Within our lifetimes, this area won't recover. I believe the chemicals have seeped too deep into the soil and stuff in that area that things in that area just aren't going to be the same for a long time. But they convinced those people, or tried to convince those people, that everything was okay. Return home. Meanwhile, in Maui, they're telling these people, oh, it may be months before you can return home. You know, who knows when you can return home? The chemicals, the toxins, oh my. Mind you, yeah, there was a fire in Lahaina. Mind you, yeah, sure, some chemicals may have burned, but it's definitely nowhere near. Like, the fire was devastating. You know, I'm not comparing that, but as far as the contamination goes from the chemicals and stuff in the air and the soil, what happened in Lahaina is nowhere near like what happened in East Palestine. But they told the people of East Palestine, it's okay, go home. Yet they're telling the people of Maui, oh, it's not going to be safe for months. So how, when a chemical train derails, y'all blow it up, set it on fire, contaminate the water and the soil and the air for miles on end, how is it safe for those people to return home? But it's not safe for, it was safe for those people to return home the next day, but it's not safe for these people to just go get a glimpse of where their house used to be a month after this fire. It's just kind of weird. It just kind of does not add up, if you ask me personally. And I mean, even look at the locations. The fire in Lahaina, it happened beachfront property, you know, like oceanfront property. There's always a good breeze out in that area. Lush green vegetation, trees, plants. You're in a tropical island. There's not many places in the world with better air quality than you're going to get out there. I can guarantee you that the air quality in Ohio near a train station and other plants, I guarantee you that air quality is nowhere near as good as the air quality down in Lahaina and Maui. I guarantee you the filtration and how the winds blow and how, you know, the air moves around. I guarantee you the circulation and stuff, it's nowhere near as good in Ohio as down in Maui, right? So surely, if it was safe for people to return home the day after a chemical spill right at their doorstep, surely the people of Maui should be able to take a look at the destruction. Maybe sift through some things, see if you can find a relic or two, something to remind you of your family, some piece of home. But no, they're told it's going to be months. We don't even know yet. So I find that really weird. And to be clear, I'm not even here to say that that's the wrong move. Maybe that's the right move. Maybe that's the safe thing to do. Hey, you guys shouldn't return home for a few months, right? Maybe that's the safe thing to do. But if that's the safe thing to do in this situation, then very obviously it should have been the safe thing to do in the East Palestine, Ohio situation. So even though it doesn't matter if it's a hurricane, a fire, a chemical spill, at the end of the day, the same agencies show up to help and to clean things up. And the response kind of goes the same, right? So it's not adding up to me. Something doesn't seem right. Because why are the responses so different when it's very clear as far as like, you know, the soil or the water or the air being polluted or contaminated or toxic or whatever you want to say, it's clear as day that that would be more so in East Palestine, Ohio, yet they just tried to blow it off like it was nothing. Yet here, in this land that it seems like everyone wants, it's like, oh, no, you can't return home. And it's also weird, one of you all actually brought this up to me, you know who you are. In the day after the fire, the air quality in the area was pristine. You know, like after the fires in Canada recently, all of New York was like covered in smoke. There were several states and cities covered in smoke. The air quality was so bad. Yet down in Lahaina, literally the day after the fire, the ground is still smoldering. The fire hasn't even all the way been put out yet, and the air quality was better than most cities. So that's another weird detail. But hey, you let me know what you make of all of this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next video.